Hello book lovers, and welcome back or welcome to Nat Cat's Bookish Cafe. Today I'm here to give you my spring TBR. Right, so I would consider winter's TBR a fail because I think I read 2 of them and one of them I DNF'd. So we're gonna go ahead and scratch that and we're gonna start over. This TBR, I am so excited about it. Honestly, I would happily pick up any of these books right now. But when it comes to spring, what kind of books do I like to read? Anything. I would say the only time I truly read seasonally is in the fall months, and every other season I just kind of read whatever I want. I do think I chose some books here that could definitely give off spring vibes, but mostly I just picked books that I'm really eager to get to and am hoping to get to in the next 3 months, which would be March, April, and May. Usually when I do my seasonal TBRs, I try to choose 6 books off of my physical TBR. Usually I try not to choose continuations of series because I don't know, God forbid I make things easier for myself. But I did put one continuation on here just to be a little nicer to myself and just because I felt like the title was fitting. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the first of these 6 books. So we'll go ahead and start with the continuation of a series, and that is going to be Sunbringer by Hannah Canner. I selected this one for multiple reasons. One, it's a relatively short book, and I really did enjoy the first book, which was called God Killer. Second, the third book in this series is coming out in March. In fact, I just pre-ordered it during Barnes & Noble's 25% off pre-order sale, so that'll be coming to me soon. And third, I just thought it was clever. The title is called Sunbringer. Here in the Northwest, the winters are pretty gloomy, and so as the spring comes around, the days get longer, it gets a little bit sunnier. So I felt that it was matching. In this book, we are following 3 different characters. We are following a woman whose family was killed by not really a cult, but they were a cult following of a certain god that had beef with the god that this family was connected to. She ends up getting saved by this god, but she has no love for gods. In fact, she took part in the god war and killed a lot of gods. On top of that, we are following a knight. Well, he's a retired knight, now he's a baker. And he was best friends with the prince that ended up being the sole survivor of his family after the god war and took the throne. And this prince needs him to return to the site of the battle for a very specific reason that could save this prince's life, which he's more than willing to do because he feels partially responsible for his friend's delicate state of being, let's put it that way. Thirdly, we are following a young girl who is tied inexplicably to this little godling, and she does not know why. The godling doesn't really remember anything about its past, and it seems anytime they get too far apart, they feel excruciating pain. And so she goes to this woman, also known as a god killer, and asks her to help them. And usually she would just kill the godling, but she's like, well, I might kill the little girl too, so can't do that. And so they too head to the site of this final battle to see if they can find answers. And obviously our characters' paths merge and things get very complicated from there. So I'm excited to continue this series. Things ended pretty intensely, so I am definitely eager to jump into the next book. Up next, we have a book from an author that I have enjoyed previously, and that is going to be Pet by Akwaeke Emezi. This is their young adult, or actually it might even be middle grade story. I believe that this is a duology. I believe there's a book called Bitter that is either a companion or a continuation of this. So in this book, we are following Lucille, and they live in a world where monsters no longer exist. At least that is what they are told, until one day they meet a creature known as Pet. And this thing definitely looks like a monster, but it seems that it is not the monster, but something else out there is. So I am really intrigued. I have heard really great things about the story. I mean, it's got quite a few awards kind of hanging out here on the cover. So I have a feeling that I am going to have a great time with it, and I am always more than happy to make my way through a quickie, a Mezzi's backlog. Up next, we have a book that I chose both for the cover and just because I have been so eager to read this since I got my little claws into it, and that is going to be Pretty. And this is by Keith Miller Jr. Let me just give you like a little closer look at that. Yes, it is gorgeous. I mean, we have the flowers that are definitely giving spring. For this one, I don't really know how to give you a synopsis, so I'm just gonna read it. It says, on the verge of the summer before his senior year, Jay is a soft soul in a world of concrete. While his older brother is everything people expect a man to be, Jay simply blends into the background to everyone except when it comes to Leroy. As everything in their lives begins to heat up, whispered rumors over the murder of a young journalist and the long brewing territory tensions hang like a dark cloud over Jay and Leroy's neighborhood. Pulled into the orbit of the Black Diamonds, whose work is to protect the Black neighborhoods of Savannah, began with his father and now falls to his older brother, Leroy knows that finding out who attacked his brother is not only the key to protecting everyone he loves, but also the only way he can ever be with Jay. Wading through the murky history of family mistakes, Leroy soon discovers that there's no keeping Jay safe when Jay's own family is in just as deep. Now Jay and Leroy must puzzle through secrets hiding in plain sight and scramble to uncover who is determined to eliminate the Black Diamonds before someone else gets hurt, even if the cost might be their own electric connection. This sounds like it is just going to be such a addictive read. I have the feeling once I pick this up, I'm not going to want to put it down. I have a feeling their connection is going to be so strong, and all the crazy things that are happening around them are going to have me at the edge of my seat. So I am super excited to read this. I think I've only heard Jess on YouTube talk about it. I haven't really heard anyone else talking about it. So if you've read this, let me know your thoughts. Obviously, spoiler free, but I am honestly thinking this might be a 5-star prediction for me. Up next, we have a book that's really not giving spring vibes at all. If anything, it's giving fall vibes, but I want to read this book. And that is Don't Let the Forest In by C.G. Drews. Yes, this cover is stunning. I have seen a couple people reading this and everyone seems to really be loving it, and I want to jump on the bandwagon. This, I would say, is kind of a horror story. It is young adult, it's queer. We have two best friends and one of them shows up to school with a little bit of blood on him, and suddenly his abusive parents are nowhere to be found. And he's also starting to disappear at night. And our character, I believe his name is Andrew. Yes. So Andrew follows his friend into the forest and finds him fighting this monster. So it seems that the monsters that he draws are coming to life and hunting him and those close to him. So these boys start working together to destroy these monsters, but Andrew is starting to worry that the only way to stop the monsters permanently is to stop their artists. So I am so excited to check out this story. Like I said, only heard good things, and it just sounds like it is going to be a really fun, spooky time. Up next, another book that's not really spring vibes, but I've been eyeballing for quite a while, and that is going to be Trail of Lightning by Rebecca Roanhorse. I've been wanting to check out this author for a while. I believe this is a duology, at least I'm hoping it is, because there's only 2 books out. So So either she kind of quit this series or is planning on coming back to it later. But so far, that's all that we got. This is kind of a post-apocalyptic situation. All the gods and heroes of the past have returned to the world, which would be great if the monsters and devils didn't come with them. In this book, we are following a woman who is from a indigenous reservation. This is written by an indigenous author, and she fights these monsters, and one day she teams up with this man, I don't know if he's a sheriff or what, to see if they can find a young missing girl. So I've been wanting to check out this series for a while. We love a good kind of monster hunter situation, and also I am intrigued by the missing child aspect of the story. So hopefully I enjoy it, and also hopefully it is only a duology. I would hate to start a series that is not completed or may never be completed. All right, and the final book on here, definitely in my opinion, at least like appearance wise, is giving spring, and that is going to be Blue Moon Rising by Ruby Dixon. These colors are just giving Easter egg. I mean, we've got these beautiful sprayed edges. I unfortunately did get this at Target. I got it before they dropped their Diversity Inclusion Act, I believe was a DIA. So before they said that they were no longer going to use that because the government gave them permission not to, and the way they dropped that so quickly was concerning. So I definitely will not be supporting a Target anymore. But this happened before that, and in this book it is a fantasy romance. As you can tell, there's a minotaur there. It is a monster romance, and we are following a girl who's part of a relatively wealthy family, but they seem to be kind of facing some financial struggles, and she's not about that life. So she's like, let's get us back on track. So she heads to this school for magical artifacts. However, while she is at this school preparing for her test and everything, she needs a chaperone. And so she meets this guy, this minotaur, and he was like, hey, I really need someone to help me through my horny phase. Essentially, it's like a time where he just be wanting to have a lot of sex and stuff, and he's not really interested in hiring a sex worker to do this. He wants something a little deeper, a little bit more personal, and he says, I'll be your chaperone if you're willing to be that person for me. And she agrees to that. And so this is obviously a romance between the two of them. I have a feeling the school setting is going to be fun. I have a feeling that it's going to be a smutty, fun, romantic time, and I feel like spring, even though it doesn't have like specific vibes, a new blooming romance is, you know, a good thing to read during spring. All right, guys, so here are the 6 books that I will be trying to read over the next 6 months. I think I am definitely more excited about these than I was the ones that I put on my winter TBR, so my chances of completing this are a lot higher. Let me know if you've read any of these, what your thoughts were. I would also love to know what kind of books you are planning to read in the spring season. As always, guys, thank you so much for supporting my channel by watching my videos, and I hope to see you next time. Bye!